A guide to recommended electronic marking techniques. I've got a specimen student assignment, and the first thing I do is look through it, partly to see that it's all there and partly to see where I will make my comments. So returning to the top, I can see that the text is very dense in this first section, and I want to make room for my comments without disrupting the student's work. So I'm going to select the page, and I'm going to use a macro which will give me a wide margin down the right hand side. So on the right here, I've now got space for my comments. The next thing I'm going to do is create a new first page for a pro forma document into which I will insert marks and comments. Now it may be that on your particular module or course these would be better placed before or after each individual question, but I'm going to paste mine at the start of the document. So page break and create an empty page. I've got a pro forma I've picked up at random, which I will simply copy and now paste into the start of the student's work. So I'll return to that as I mark each question and fill in the marks and a summary of the most important aspects of the comment of the work and how it meets the requirements of the question. So returning to the first sample of the material, if I want to comment on an aspect that is in the middle of a paragraph, I want to be able to identify that. It might be by highlighting it. There might be a comment, a tick is sufficient, and you can see that I'm selecting the point on the text and then selecting the appropriate symbol. I might have spotted a spelling mistake and feel that simple spelling symbol is sufficient. I might see something that's wrong, highlight it and strike through. So it's quite easy to place these comments as you read through. Yes, confirm that, confirm that. It may be that sometimes these larger ticks are too big, so that you'd like a smaller tick. And if you've placed one in the wrong place, we can select it and we can move it. So they're not fixed in place. We can move them around. We've also got a symbol for placing a ring round an area. And again, we can adjust this and we can move it. If we want to make a written comment on a specific point, if we start typing inside the student's material, it will disrupt the formatting. I think it's much better to add a call out, and we can adjust the pointer to precisely the point that we want, and we can then add our comment in the call out. So the whole process is quite fast. I've also got a tablet attached, and I've got inking set up in Word 2013, so I can as well insert comments with a pen. If I bring my tablet into use, so we can use the pen, and we could also add ticks using a pen, which saves the double click, so you might find this technique a little bit faster, and it avoids disrupting any complicated formatting. Other techniques are to use a comment in Word, and this will add the comment outside the boundary, so it'll make the page wider still if I've made the page wider. But remember that these comments in Word are not readily visible in all word processors. You do need to save it as a PDF and ensure that these comments are saved as well if you wish them to be viewed by the students. And the same applies to track changes. They are not visible in all word processors. The student may have them switched off, but if you save as PDF and you ensure that your track changes are visible in the PDF, then you can make use of them. If you are going to use inline text, your inline text does need to be readily visible, and it is useful to use So I've styled my inline text to make it very visible and distinct from the student's work. But again, to retain this for all students to see, you do need to save this as a PDF. Now if we look at the next page of work, here we have a diagram, and the diagram may well be too small to see easily. We want to see some detail. I wouldn't hesitate to expand that diagram to allow me to see it more clearly. And then I can add comments on the diagram itself. Now if I add a call out, it doesn't always appear where you expect it to, and I've got a remedy for that, which is an overlay that goes over the page. Make sure I'm on the page, click for the overlay. Right, we have an overlay over this page and the image, and now wherever I click on the page I can place a tick across, and I can add a call out for a comment. And again, I can change the position of the call out and add my comment. So I can annotate diagrams as easily as I can text, and this overlay helps me to do that. Now this next diagram, I've placed an overlay over it, and what I'd like to do is bring in an image of a correct example to place on this diagram. One way I can do that is to add my call out, and with the focus in the call out, simply drag in an image and release it, and then the image is clear, and I can indicate clearly either by moving the call out or moving the pointer to the point where I want this to be applied. So you can combine all these different techniques on an image with text, with callouts, with ticks, with crosses, and so on. Now on this next page, again, I want to insert comments over the student's material. I've created an overlay over the image, and I've also made sure that the document is not in compatibility mode, so that I've got the use of the pens. If the pens don't show up, try clicking on the page outside the overlay area so that you're clicking on the basic page. With the pens visible, I can then go and select the colour of the pen that I want and the thickness, and I can do this simply using a mouse. So the first line I'm going to draw is simply using the mouse, but I can use a tablet as well. So if I can come onto the tablet, select a different pen, this time I'm using a pen and tablet, and let's draw a distinct curve. Now, having drawn that curve, I might want to change and carry on using the pen. So go back to a simple pen. So writing on is straightforward. I prefer to work with a callout. So again, I want to return to normal text. So just press the keyboard and we're back to normal text. Click on the overlay again. I can place a callout and I can type my comment. So I think you'd agree that my typing is much clearer, and I can also adjust the callout and pointer to point where I want it to be. Now in this next example we have some handwritten text that's been scanned in by the student and submitted as an image. If we click on the text we can see that it's an image. Click back on the page to make sure the cursor's on the page and place the overlay over this again. So now we've got an overlay and we can click anywhere on this page. So again I can use ticks, crosses and other symbols. With mathematical work we might want to add a specimen formula or equation. We can do that by placing our callout on the page again, and we might have an equation in the library. I'm going to pick one at random, and that's now inserted into the callout. I can edit that if need be. I can save that back to my selection of equations if I want. I can move this around. I can extend the pointer of the call out to wherever I want to draw attention to. And again, I can use the pen option, but we need to have the pen option not grayed out. So I may need to click outside the picture area. So there's the pen options back again. And I can select the pen that I want to use. So back on the tablet again, and I can now highlight areas quite quickly. I can draw a line out and add a comment. I can add an equation simply by drawing it in. So I can mark this as though I were marking on paper quite easily. Ticks, crosses, make changes, all the normal symbols that I would use if I was marking on paper. Having marked each question and returned to the pro forma section at the head of this document to insert marks and comments for each question, the next task is to make sure that the student can actually read the comments that I have added. Now, in the compatibility video, I demonstrate the lack of compatibility in many word processors. What we need to do is to save this as a PDF. And Word is very good at saving as a PDF. So same file name, but now saved as a PDF. And I'm now automatically reviewing this in PDF Exchange Viewer. So here's the top of the document. And we can see that the call out has been included. The word comment is also included. The marking on the image is present. There's my image inserted as an example. My graph lines are present, and all my comments on the scanned in piece of work are also there and in the right place. The problem, if you simply return it as a Word document as text, comments do not always stay synchronized. So the PDF ensures that your student has the best chance of reading your comments as you intended.